Something you alluded to was figuring out that balance, that personal, family, ministry, emotional health, kind of how do you think on a big, broad scale, have this passion, this zeal for the gospel, and still like have a normal, somewhat life that where you're a functional human as well, you know?
Yeah, well, shoot. I mean, I don't have it figured out. I'll tell you that much. You just ask my wife. Um, but I'll tell you, having kids is a blessing to me. I see it as a natural boundary and anchor. Um, I love being a dad. I know not everyone does, which is weird to say, but I genuinely do. I love being with my kids. I had a good dad, so I think that's helpful. Obviously, just in generational blessing in that sense. But because I love being a dad, I want to be around my kids. I want to be involved in their life. I also love sports. I love coaching. So I've coached them. Those kind of things build in some natural boundaries and barriers. And there's just things that I say in my schedule, like I cannot do, or I need to put it on a different time, or I'm going to find a leader that can do it because it needs to be done, but I'm not. It's constantly a tension between how do I really invest in my kids and be with them and be involved with them, but also be involved in the mission. Also being a good husband and learning to be a good husband. If I'm being honest, that's where I struggle actually. I do a great job with my ministry and I do a great job with my kids. Oftentimes I'm not doing a great job with intentionality with my wife. That's something we're talking about a lot. We just went on a date this Saturday, so that was great. But that's really difficult as a ministry leader, especially when you're ambitious, and not just ministry leader, business leader, if you're ambitious, you have to constantly be thinking about your work, your wife or your husband, and your kids. And all I can say is you better have good friends, you better have good mentors, you better have integrity, you better have honesty, and you should lay those three things in front of all those people, including yourself, including God, all the time, and say, how am I doing with my marriage, with my kids, with my work? And if you're not doing very well in either one of those areas, then you better take it seriously. And you need to put the same ambition towards one of those places in the other place. And that's how I'm constantly thinking and, talking about it. It's more of a tension than it is a, resolution. Like it's just always moving like the tide.
Yeah. And there's seasons where you're focused more or less on the ministry or the family. And it's not necessarily like every week I spend X amount of hours in ministry. It's like, no, some weeks you're traveling, and I can imagine you're driving across the state and you don't see your family much. And then maybe the next week you'll do more with them. And so
yeah,
that's so
that's
great.
true. So you need to, I think on a practical too, I would just say, talk with your family. If you're someone listening that has a family, like what are your agreements, right? How many weekends is your wife, your husband going to allow you to travel with grace? Like, so for me, it was like, you can go out of town one time a month on the weekends for work, and cool. I don't have to ask permission on that. This is what I'm doing. If I'm going to go twice, I need to ask permission. How many nights out a week are you going to be gone from dinner or bedtime? Talk about that, make agreements. Every marriage is different. Every ministry is different. Someone might be fine being out 3 nights a week because you're really home in the morning or something. Some of you might feel like, no, more than one night a week is really stressful. You need to figure that out together. You are married. You are a family. It's not you and then them. So figure it out, fight it out, go to counseling, talk to your mentors. There's not a one way to do it, but talk about it and make a decision together.